Are you missing an Animate Guardian in your life? Well, let's find that out. Past couple days on the stream, we've been grinding really hard doing a subathon. Huge thank you to all you guys that have been helping out. It's been awesome. We've deleted a lot of currency, but someone in chat the other day actually mentioned that they saw some tech that some people were doing, particularly in hardcore, for getting additional aura and some damage in Sanctum. And that is by sneaking in an Animate Guardian. This is not a full Animate Guardian guide. I will just show you what I got right here, what I did, and the tech behind it. So what Animate Guardian is, I'll actually go on to a different character because I don't want to overwrite this guy. I'll show you really quickly what it is and kind of how it works. But he's a little minion. He's a permanent minion that you can summon that follows you around. It's a red gem right here that you can cast, and he will put on the gear that you drop on the ground. So he actually can't summon until you drop gear on the ground. So let's just grab some random gear and make him wear it. So what we do is we have our Animate Guardian skill right here, and we drop the, we actually need to be able to see it on the ground on our loot filter right here. We then cast Animate Guardian on the items, and he will put the items on. And you can see he is just, it's animated the items. It's items by themselves. So it's just a floating body armor. So we actually want him to have some other stuff here. So give him a weapon, give him a helmet, give him a pair of boots, some gloves, and a weapon. And now you can see he's walking around, and this is our little guy. Anything that he's wearing, if it says allies get a certain buff, anything like that, does benefit us. He can give us stuff like Kingmaker, most traditional stuff. You can get Calling Strike, you can get Fortification. But what we're most interested in here is the Guardian's Blessing support, which is a new blessing support that they added this league. Blessings are specific ways that you can cast auras with certain restrictions. Most common one right now is Divine Blessing. People use that with Eldritch Battery to cast an aura with a cooldown. So if I cast my Malevolence right here, I have a 15-second duration on my Malevolence aura. And as you saw, it cost my energy shield or my mana to cast it. It's a temporary buff, gives you an aura, and that's what people are using a lot to get an additional aura in their build. However, we have this new support gem called Guardian's Blessing that casts the aura basically through your minion. Instead of costing mana or mana reservation, it actually siphons life off of your minion, starting at 8% life, going all the way up to about 14% life per second, taken as physical damage. And it's life and energy shield. So if you scale really high life and energy shield, it's kind of double dipping in a negative way. The aura effect starts at -30, and at level 20, it goes to nearly positive 30%. So you do want to level that up for a stronger aura. But what it does is we'll look at our Animate Guardian sorry, little buddy, but we'll look at our Animate Guardian right here. Let me move my Malevolence over here. And when I cast it, you'll see he'll start taking life per second, and he'll start degenerating. And he will be losing his life per second as physical damage, but we do get our permanent Malevolence aura with no timer, won't cost any mana or anything like that. And then, sorry buddy, and then he dies. And when an Animate Guardian dies, you lose all of the gear that he had equipped. So if you have very expensive gear on him, it's gone. There is a lot of a risk there. That's the basic idea. That's the theory. And so our goal here is how do we sustain an Animate Guardian, keep him alive, as well as what other gear can we put on him to make us even stronger. And yeah, I got something to show you. I'm pretty happy with what we ended up with here. So like I said, this is some tech that people are doing right now already. Particularly people are doing this even on, non-minion characters at all, just to get that free aura, particularly in encounters like Sanctum, where there's a very low risk of the minion taking damage or dying. Just what I have equipped on my character, the big thing that we can do to mitigate a lot of that degen is a Gruthkul's Pelt. This isn't what's on my current guy. This is like my backup set. This is basically best in slot with this double corruption, reduced extra damage from crits, physical damage reduction while stationary. Because remember, the Guardian's Blessing is physical damage over time. And it can roll a ton of life, but that 10% life regen per second that's the big thing. That already by itself almost fully mitigates the 14% life per second. And then we're going to scale even more life regen and physical damage reduction. So for a shield, I actually have him wearing a Dawnbreaker right now. The most important line right here is the 20% of physical damage taken as fire damage. And then what I have actually is this minion defense mastery, strongly recommended, is minions have plus 8% to all maximum elemental res. So that gives him 83% fire res. So we only take 17% of that 20%. And then the really big one right here is we have him linked to meat shield support, which makes him take 25% less damage, period, as well as 5% additional physical damage reduction, just off the top. And to round out all of the defenses, we want to go for a pair of boots and gloves. Just a rare pair of boots and gloves. You can buy the cheapest base you can find with Fractured Chaos Res, hit it with single pristine fossils, very, very cheap, and go for life regenerate, flat life regen, and life. You want that on both your boots and your gloves. And then on the implicits, I went for spell suppression, max res, life regen, and then some more chaos res. That will cap out his chaos res and give him a lot more life regen rate. And then we are using an Arumvarax right here, which will give him up to 60% all elemental res. We don't have to worry about res on any other piece of gear. He's capped res, and we're good to go. And because we're using a two-hander, there really isn't a good one-hander weapon that I could find that would be worth using. But for very easy rolls of our gear and for something that's much cheaper, I really like this. And we just cap out a res like that. With all of that damage reduction, with all of that life regen, we're sitting really pretty. We are using Anomalous Guardian's Blessing for another 2% life regen right there, giving him 13% base life regen, that then we also have a significant amount of that mitigated between the meat shield support and the Dawnbreaker. That's all of the defenses on the guy. All of that is in service of being able to have a very, very strong aura that is up all of the time. I haven't talked about the helmet yet. This will be based on your build and whatever you're going for. By default, you can just go for a Leer cast. You can get up to 2% life regen right there for even more life regen if you want to make him tankier in that way. And then he has nearby allies gain 50% increased damage. So really nice little damage boost there for you. But for my build, Crown of the Tyrant is actually insane. It only gets one socket, but for that socket, based on the color, you get flat damage. And for my build, because I run Hatred, I get a lot of additional damage from a green socket for that flat cold damage. Nearby enemies have -10 all res. This actually gave me 18 million DPS on my build, the helmet alone. So that, and then having a very, very strong aura with the Guardian's Blessing, a 21% increased aura effect, Malevolence that I never have to press. I have 100% uptime of my Malevolence, and it's just always up. It's really, really awesome. That's what he's wearing right now. It's really, really strong. Again, Dawnbreaker with a Rumvarax, and then two nice, they do have to be armor-based glove and boots to get that life regen rate on that suffix right there. So you do need them to be armor-based. And yeah, I can show you guys a map real quick. I'll just run through, I'll just run through a map real quick here and show you guys what it looks like. Big thing that a lot of people do is they'll use Convocation. The whole purpose of this for me was to reduce the buttons that I press in my build. So I just couldn't fit Convocation into my build. I didn't really want to bother with that. So we'll do this Phoenix with Delirium and Maven Witness and all that. And you guys can see what that looks like. So again, this is an investment. Do be very careful about him dying. This is not a super, super tanky Animate Guardian. He will die in Ubers. He will die from really, really scary stuff. But, the only investment that I have so far is this Minion Defense Mastery right here and this gear. And he feels really tanky in regular maps. Feels really, really good. So yeah, I'll just show you guys real quick what this looks like. The big thing here for me is that his life doesn't go down. Or rather, the big thing for me is actually that the aura is always up. I don't have to worry about recasting the aura every 10 to 15 seconds. Divine Blessing is great. It's so powerful. But, I mean, it's annoying. We're Path of Exile players. We don't like pressing buttons. The really nice thing about the meat shield support is the Animate Guardian will actually stay right next to you, so you don't have to worry about him wandering off too much. He can kind of get caught sometimes in some things. I did craft 100% chance to avoid being chilled, just to make sure that he doesn't get chilled. I could go for freeze avoidance there if I wanted to, but I'm not going to bother with that. Might be better. That might be the better craft, and I'll consider it, but yeah, and then let's see. We'll try to make him tank a Phoenix Explosion. Let's see what that looks like. Hopefully he doesn't die. Phoenix Explosion. Yeah, so you saw his life went down a little bit, but not bad, right? Delirious Phoenix Explosion. Pretty good rolls right here. Not bad. So yeah, that's what it's looking like. He's pretty defensive. Consider this tech if you can fit it into your build. This is a 4-link setup. You really do need the meat shield. But if you're already using Divine Blessing, this can be a really good way to just, reduce one button press on your build and possibly squeeze a lot more damage in there. That I am now at the Uber dot cap for my build. And yeah, it's pretty wild. So yeah, just wanted to share that tech with you guys real quick. Thanks for watching. I'm going to go get ready for the stream and keep doing the subathon. And again, yeah, thank you to all of you guys that have been supporting. It's been really, really huge. Appreciate you guys a lot. See y'all later. Bye.